Welcome back. We've been having a whole lot of conversations. I hope you're not just joining in the program, because if you are, then you have to go to our website, YouTube, and watch what you have missed. We've spoken a whole lot about Nigeria's economy, what to expect, and how you can hedge against some of those risks. Now let's talk about commodities, and we have Dumebi Oluwole joining us in the studio now. She's Senior Associate with Financial Derivatives Company. Hi, Dumebi. Good morning. Good to have you second time this week.
Thank you. Good morning.
So inflation is out, but now oil is up. Is it just about China that's driving it up?
No, not really. There are actually two aspects to it. So there's the supply side, there's the demand side. On the demand side, we have China. So the fact that China's economy has reopened and we're seeing an increase in demand for oil, and that's, propping up oil prices, or actually just creating some buzz in the oil market to keep prices high. Then on the supply side, we have the price caps on Russian oil, and also now by February 5th there will be another set of sanctions on refined petroleum products from Russia by the EU. So that as well is also weighing in on the global market for oil. But really, what is driving the current rally in the oil market is actually China. Yeah, China's economy reopening and the prospects it has for demand. So the EIA, that's the International Energy Agency, they actually forecasted that because of the increase, in Chinese demand, the expected increase in Chinese demand, and how that's going to support prices, they're expecting global demand for oil to rise this year to about 101 million barrels per day. So that's a really huge uptick compared to what it was last year. And to show how significant China is to the global economy, not just in terms of the oil market, but trade in general. China currently accounts for almost 18% of global GDP. For global trade, it accounts for about 14%, and almost about the same thing for global exports. China is the largest oil importing country and also one of the largest oil refining countries. So on a global scale, China has a lot of impact, and that's why you see whenever something is happening with China,
it affects the oil prices.
It affects oil prices, and also
this would, I mean, this could be good news for Nigeria, especially since we've ramped up our oil production,
yes,
dealing with oil theft on the one hand, and then in preparation towards the removal of the subsidy.
Yes,
hopefully this time it will go through.
Well, I mean, hopefully this time it will go through. The expectation is that it's going to be a gradual phasing out. So in the 2023 budget, there was still an 18-month, extension period for
I think that expires in June.
Yes, it expires in June. So, and they made a provision for fuel subsidy payments of about 3.6 trillion naira. So that's still going to take us into the half of the year. So, barring any withdrawal, or pushback from the federal government on actually removing fuel subsidies, we should see that actually happen this year, as long as they don't take back their words on doing that. So that could actually happen. But like you rightly said, with oil prices, trading at what it currently is, and the expectations that it could actually increase further, considering
we're going to be paying more for subsidy.
Exactly. So we're going to be paying more for fuel subsidies. But at the same time, if our oil production, the hopes that our oil production actually continues to creep up with the level that it is, we should be able to see some level of respite from them.
And I think most of the presidential candidates, at least the ones in the front, have said they're going to take off the subsidy. So
yeah, it's a huge selling point right now. It's a huge selling point to voters, considering the fact that it's really eating into the purse of the federal government.
13 trillion naira.
Exactly. The NNPC throughout last year wasn't able to remit any kobo to the federation account, and that's where the monthly disbursements come from for each state government. And when you look at the share of federal government, look at the share of FAC to internally generated revenue, you see that a lot of almost half, or actually about 33 states out of the 36 states in this country highly depend on the FAC disbursements that they receive every month for the federal government. I think in the last state-by-state report by budget, you have only about 3 states, that's Lagos State, Rivers, and I think Anambra State, were the only states that had their IGR significantly higher, or at least higher than their FAC disbursements, to show how show how dependent a lot of states
yeah, well,
are
that opens up another conversation of,
exactly.
you know, states and subnationals looking inwards and using the resources, because every state in Nigeria has agriculture,
Yes.
mineral resources.
Yes.
It's just for the government to look inwards, use the
Exactly.
people,
Exactly.
you know, that are there to make the most of some
exactly.
of this.
Well, yeah, that's a very huge argument to that. The other aspect to it is that the role of governments generally, subnationals at the federal level, however way you want to look at it, is to actually encourage businesses to come into their states to
Make the environment friendly and
friendly
attractive. Exactly.
Exactly, because the role of the government is not to create jobs, but to actually create a safe and a friendly environment for businesses to thrive. Businesses are the ones that create jobs. The more businesses you have in your state, the more opportunities, the more employment opportunities,
the more taxes
you can get. So generally, it just boils down to the fact that governments just have to stick to the most important aspect of their role in terms of nation building.
And then we also see on your slide that liquefied natural gas plunged. What drove that down?
Well, what's happening now is that we're seeing we're seeing climate change take effect, basically. So the weather is not really as cold as what it used to be previous years. So clearly, we're seeing some level of decline in winter demand for natural gas, for heating demand for natural gas, and then also the EU as well. They have a lot of gas reserves right now, so that's also having some level of impact on their demand for natural gas. So that's what's happening with natural gas and prices. So clearly, climate change, which is one of like the hottest topics at the recent or the ongoing World Economic Forum, that's the Davos conference that's happening. Climate change was a really huge topic, and we can clearly see how that's playing in the world generally.
And then we can also see that like the European countries said they're going to be looking to countries like Nigeria for gas.
Hopefully we're able to produce.
We're able to we take care of ourselves, and then you know, because we had a conversation yesterday, and it seems like we may be more available to export than to use for domestic, which is unfortunate. But maybe thank you so much for sharing your time and your thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.